Where is the Holy Ark located today? Where the Holy Ark is located today. Rambam Maimonides begins in the 4th chapter of the Laws of the Chosen House in Mishnah Torah with the following statements. There was a stone in the western portion of the Holy of Holies on which the ark was placed. Before it were placed a vial of manna and Aaron's staff. When Shlomo, which is Solomon, constructed the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, knowing that it would ultimately be destroyed, he constructed a place for the ark to be entombed below the Holy of Holies in a deep maze-like vault. King Josiah commanded that the ark be entombed in the chamber which Shlomo had built, as it is written, and he told the Levites, who were granted understanding above all of Israel and who were consecrated unto God, place the holy ark in the chamber built by Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. You will no longer carry it upon your shoulders. Now go and serve God your Lord. Together with the ark were entombed Aaron's staff, the vial of manna, and the anointing oil. All of these sacred articles did not return in the second Beis HaMikdash. The commentaries have raised questions concerning this passage because this lengthy historical explanation is out of context for the Mishnah Torah. Moreover, the fundamental point mentioned by Rambam that the ark was entombed is a matter of dispute among the sages, some maintaining that it was not entombed, but rather taken to Babylonia together with the sacred articles from the Beis HaMikdash, maintaining the sanctity of the Beis HaMikdash. Several of our rabbis have attempted to resolve this difficulty by explaining that Rambam's statements concerning the entombment of the ark are intended to complement the position he states at the conclusion of chapter 6 of Hilkos Beis HaBakita. These commentaries explain that the divine presence rests on the ark. Accordingly, the eternal sanctification of the site of the Beis HaMikdash and of Jerusalem is dependent on the constant presence of the ark on that site. There are, however, several difficulties with this resolution. Firstly, it does not explain all the particular details mentioned by Rambam in our halakha. Were this the Rambam's intent, he could have written merely the ark was entombed in its place. Moreover, Rambam's conception of the sanctification of the site of the Beis HaMikdash is not necessarily dependent on the presence of the ark. On the contrary, Rambam states that the consecration was brought about by Shlomo at the time of the dedication of the first Beis HaMikdash, without mentioning the need for the constant presence of the ark. It would appear that Rambam's intent is that the consecration of the Beis HaMikdash came about at the moment of the ark was brought into the Holy of Holies. At that time, this became the resting place for the divine presence and remains so far all time, for the divine presence can never be nullified. Thus, our original difficulty remains unresolved. In addition, there is a further question which results from considering the order of Hilkos Beis HaBakita in chapter 1. The Rambam explains the basic principles associated with construction of the Beis HaMikdash. Chapter 2 concerns the altar, and chapter 3 focuses on the other sacred utensils, including the menorah, the table for the showbread, the incense altar, and the like. Chapter 4, by contrast, dwells on the structure of the building, its dimensions, and the different elements of its design. Seemingly, the mention of the ark should have been included in chapter 2 or 3 with the other sacred articles. Why was it included in chapter 4? Not merely a sacred article, but part of the Beis HaMikdash. The above questions force us to view the ark in a different light. It was not merely one of the sacred utensils of the Beis HaMikdash, nor even the most important of those utensils. Rather, it was part of the structure of the Beis HaMikdash itself, for it is the ark which assures that the Beis HaMikdash will be a house for God, the place where the divine presence rests. If so, a question arises: how could the second Beis Hamikdash be complete without the Ark? How could the Holy of Holies be complete without this fundamental element of its structure? To reinforce these questions, the site of the Beis Hamikdash was consecrated as the resting place for the divine presence previously, and that sanctity remains for all time. Nevertheless, since Rambam considers the Ark as an element of the structure of the Beis Hamikdash, it would appear that the building as a whole cannot be complete without it. This is the difficulty which the Rambam seeks to resolve in this halakha with his description of the entombment of the Ark. Every one of the particular details he mentions contributes to the explanation. 2 places for the Ark. Rambam emphasizes that the chamber in which the Ark is hidden was constructed by Shlomo as part of the original conception of the Beis Hamikdash. The entombment of the Ark was not a decision adopted at the last moment because of an emergency. Instead, at the outset, in the prophetic conception of the Beis Hamikdash, there were 2 places for the Ark. 1, a revealed place atop the foundation stone in the Holy of Holies, and 2, a hidden place in the deep maze-like vaults below the Holy of Holies. The latter place was also consecrated as a place for the Ark by King Shlomo, and thus was considered as part of the Holy of Holies. The construction of this chamber was not an afterthought to protect the Ark at a time of need, but rather part of the structure which God intended for the Beis Hamikdash at the outset. Accordingly, as long as the Ark was in this chamber, the structure of the Holy of Holies and the Beis Hamikdash in its entirety was complete. In regard to the structure of the Beis Hamikdash, it did not matter whether the Ark was revealed in the Holy of Holies or hidden in this chamber. King Josiah's command. This explanation also enables us to understand why the Rambam mentions that it was King Josiah who ordered that the Ark be entombed. At the time of King Josiah, there was no immediate danger that the Beis Hamikdash would be destroyed. Quite the contrary, at that time the Jews lived in relative security. Thus it is clear that the entombment of the Ark was not merely an expediency adopted for its protection, but rather was part of the initial intent in the construction of the Beis Hamikdash. To further emphasize this concept, Rambam quotes the instructions given by King Josiah: place the Holy Ark in the chamber built by Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. You will no longer carry it upon your shoulders. Now go and serve God, your Lord. Josiah did not say remove the Ark from its place, for the emphasis was not that the Ark was even taken from its place of resting in the Holy of Holies, but rather that it was being brought to a place appropriate for it, by saying, now go and serve God. Josiah was emphasizing that the fact that the Ark would no longer be in the Holy of Holies, you will no longer carry it on your shoulders, did not detract at all from the sanctity of the Beis Hamikdash. The sacrificial service could continue without interruption. The conception of the Ark having 2 places is further accentuated by the Rambam's following sentence: together with the Ark were entombed Aaron's staff, the vial of manna, and the anointing oil. When the Ark was located in the Holy of Holies, these sacred articles were required to be placed before it, as Rambam states in the beginning of the halakha. Accordingly, when the Ark was brought to its second location in the maze-like vaults, these sacred articles were taken to that place as well. The presence of the Ark and eternal truth. On this basis, we can appreciate a unique bond of oneness shared by all the structures within which God's presence dwelt, beginning from the sanctuary in the desert. For each of these structures contained in a revealed or a hidden manner the same Ark, the receptacle for God's presence. More particularly, each of the 3 Beis Hamikdash, the first and second Beis Hamikdash, the third Beis Hamikdash which will be built in the near future, share a unique bond, for the same Ark will complete these structures. Indeed, this connection is shared with the site of the Beis Hamikdash at present. for the ark is contained there now as well, lying hidden in the deep maze-like vaults which Shlomo constructed. With the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash in the era of the redemption, however, the presence of the ark will be openly revealed, for it will emerge from these hidden depths and be placed in the Holy of Holies once more, in the third Beis Hamikdash, an eternal structure which will never be destroyed. May this take place in the immediate future. Adapted from a talk by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem M. Schneerson, English text presented as published in the book Seek Out the Welfare of Jerusalem, page 75 to 82. Note, it appears that one of the other explanations may still be valid if the maze-like tunnels leading from the place of the Holy of Holies extended beyond the area of the Temple Mount, with the ark being hidden in a connected underground chamber some distance away from the Temple Mount. Article from AskNoah.org.